All right, let's continue to give you an update. As I said, there's a lot of activity taking place already around the country. EFF had started a series of vigils in the lead up to the national shutdown, which kicks off in about 8 minutes' time. And the area of concern this evening has been in Braamfontein, and we've got live visuals there for you on the screen. And a little bit earlier this evening, some students were arrested by police and taken away after the students there and activists had started their march. But this is the situation there, and one of our reporters there, Sashin Naidoo, is on the ground in Braamfontein. So let's get a sense from him what's been going on. Sashin, thanks for joining us. Tell us a little bit about what you're seeing, particularly after the goings-on this evening.
Hi, good evening, Peter. So as we speak, we can see a group of around 50 to 100 EFF protesters that have gathered outside the Johannesburg Council. And as you can see, they are in quite high spirits, and they are singing and dancing as they continue with their protest. So we do understand that they began gathering in this area from earlier on this evening. And according to these protesters here at the scene, they say that they will continue with their protests throughout the night and into the morning. We are also seeing quite a large police contingent that has been deployed to the area. We are seeing more than 15 JMPD vehicles that are currently outside the Johannesburg Council as well, keeping a close eye on the proceedings as we speak, just to ensure that, protests don't get out of hand, and also ensure that, these protesters don't block any routes or roads around the area where they are currently protesting.
Sashin, have you been able to talk to any of the protesters there for them to relate what they saw happening earlier this evening and why police arrested some of their members?
Yes, well, we did manage to speak to a few protesters here. They actually didn't want to be interviewed on camera, but off camera they did say that they feel that the police is actually, not doing their job quite well. They're saying that they were protesting peacefully. They weren't disrupting anything. They were just marching through the streets of Braamfontein when police did come and start making arrests. So they are quite outraged about that, and they say that they will forge ahead with their protests throughout today.
Have you been seeing the numbers growing there, Sashin?
Well, at this time, we can't really say that the numbers have been growing. This group of protesters is the only group that we have been following here in Braamfontein this evening. We do understand that as we enter into the morning hours, going into the day, there will be more protesters joining this particular group, as well as other parts around Johannesburg.
Have they given you any indication of what kind of activity that they'll be engaged in? It looks at the moment it's more of a gathering than anything else.
Yes, that is correct. So about 30 minutes ago, these exact protesters were sitting on the roads just outside the Johannesburg Council, and they weren't allowing any cars to pass. So what happened thereafter was that a large police contingent did actually come to the scene and actually request these protesters to peacefully move off the road to allow cars to pass, and they actually did agree, and they moved to the grass grounds just outside the Johannesburg Council, where they are now engaging in their picket.
What we've been seeing is that it's been mostly young people and students that have been forming the bulk of these gatherings. Are there other civilians, citizens that are starting to move around, or are they watching from a distance rather?
Well, at this stage, we can't really say that there are more people, that are actually joining in these protests, because I have been driving around Braamfontein for quite a while now, and it does seem that most of the area is quiet for now, and it's just this particular area where we are seeing this group of protesters who are actually picketing.
All right, so you say a large police contingent. What are they, standing off at a distance, watching, monitoring at this stage?
Yes, well, as we speak now, they are currently stationed just outside the Johannesburg Council, in front of the Johannesburg Theatre. And we are also seeing JMPD and Nyalas here. And the officers are keeping their distance, but they are monitoring the situation just to ensure that it doesn't get out of hand and that these protesters don't go on blocking roads and preventing cars from passing on their routes.
I mean, it is the weekend. Are there a number of cars still travelling around the area? I know Braamfontein usually is quite a busy area at the weekend.
Yes, Peter, that is correct. There are quite a number of cars that are driving up and down the streets around the Johannesburg Council. And now, as we stand, we can say that the SAPS as well as JMPD have actually, ensured that these cars can pass through peacefully without any incidents or having the roads being blocked and having them to make U-turn and go back in the direction that they did come. So, as you can see now, we are seeing a group of EFF protesters who are having a bit of an argument between themselves here. And it does seem that in this area we will maybe see more protesters coming throughout the night as well as into the morning.
The EFF have been very careful to say that, look, this isn't just about the EFF, even though it's being described as an EFF shutdown. They're saying this is a citizens and people's shutdown. Are you seeing many people there not in red uniforms that are just citizens, students, perhaps that are not affiliated to the EFF participating?
Well, at this stage, we can't really say that there are, citizens that did come out on their own accord. It does look like it is particularly just EFF members who are gathering now, but throughout the day, we might actually see more people coming out to protest.
All right, Sashin, we'll leave it there for the time being, but thanks so much indeed for being on the ground. Stay safe and be careful as you bring us this very, very important news. All right, so it's 23:59, which means that this shutdown is literally 40 or so seconds away. And we're getting a sense from the EFF that they're not waiting until the morning. This national shutdown, this protests and these marches will begin at midnight, literally in the next few seconds, 30 seconds to be exact. And we've got reporters on the ground in the major centres of the country, and we'll be giving you updates on activities that are taking place along the length and breadth of the country, just to make sure that you know what's going on, and also that give you a heads up of perhaps areas that might become hotspots, etc. But all of that still to come as we continue to give you rolling coverage. It is now midnight, which means the national shutdown has begun.